All right, what up, Who That Nation? This is No Cap, No Filter Saints. I'm your host, Marley G, and we got another special guest right back in the building. My boy, my fam, one of the funniest men on Twitter for the Saints Nation right now, man. Jono, this shit more than a game bonds, man. What up, Jono, bro?
What up, Marley? How you doing, homie?
I'm doing good as long as Jono ain't at none of the games for the Saints and the Pelicans, man. I think he's cursing our team, bro.
Wow, that's like the first time you actually blame somebody for the Saints struggles instead of Dennis Allen. I'm actually impressed. This is actually a monumental moment on your show. Let's give you some round of applause for that.
I had to go just thinking. I had to do some soul search. I said, man, is Dennis Allen this horrible or is it Jono?
Isn't me. You know, the bad thing is that the schedule comes out next weekend. I'm one of the few Saints fans who are still going to be like, I could go to this game. I could go to this, road trip. So I don't think it's going to get any better, Saints fans, because I will be looking at that schedule next week and saying, what game can Jono go to?
All right, Jono, man, it's been a real quiet off season, man. It wasn't really too much to be excited about. We got Chase Young. That was at an risk because of the neck injury. We got Clay Kubiak. I think that's the most biggest splash of the off season, in my opinion. That's the most best news that we got. But then we get to the draft. I would like to think the whole Who That Nation is very much happy with what the draft. I thought before coming into the draft, I said, man, this team has so many holes. As long as we get players that are, household names, everybody should be fine. And it seemed like it's been that way across the board. What's your thoughts on the draft, man?
Well, I'll tell you my whole thoughts on the offseason. Like you said, it was a quiet offseason. And I think that's what we needed, right? Because, one, if you are a fan who are as jilted as – I consider myself pretty jilted. You are jilted on a whole nother level. So you want a quiet offseason because you don't want this team to continue to, go deeper into the salary cap hell, even though we know that the salary cap can be manipulated. We don't want to keep going deeper and deeper when we don't have really that much faith in this current regime. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that it seems like Mickey dialed it back a bit this offseason. And maybe that actually works out for us. Like having a quiet, boring offseason does well for us compared to the past two offseasons when we had these splashy moves and the fans were all hyped and it led to nothing but misery and no playoffs. So I'm very glad that the Saints finally had this boring offseason. It's not necessarily, I would say, a rebuild approach, but it's kind of a slowly, gradually retooling for the future while still maintaining that competitive balance that Mickey Loomis always seeks for his football team. So I'm glad that it was a slow offseason. As far as the draft, I think it was a great draft. Now, can we really say in May that we had a great draft without seeing these guys actually take the field? Obviously not. But when you look at the pedigree of all of these players, when you look at the positional values that we were able to obtain, it's very hard to have any complaints about the draft. You got your starting right tackle because sadly it seems like Ramczyk is probably done for his career. You got a cornerback who is either going to replace apparently Lattimore or Debo, depends on which direction the team goes in. The scatterbutt says it's probably going to be eventually Lattimore because of him and DA's relationship. Then you possibly got a quarterback. Worst case, maybe a backup, if Spencer Rattler. I think the fans, Marley, are getting a little too, including you, actually. Including you. You're one of the main ones, ringleaders on that damn social media. Acting like Spencer Rattler is like this guaranteed future franchise quarterback. I'm like, let's slow down a bit. Now, granted, I'm a little jilted on that end too because
everybody been saying I'm a fake fan. Now I'm trying to get excited. I'm trying to get reeled in. As soon as I get excited about something, I can't get excited.
I would never call you a fake fan. I'm one of the people who says fans can fan however they want. It doesn't have to be always sunshine and rainbows. I actually appreciate the fans who, like you, keep it real and don't always want to be looking at things from the black and gold colored glasses, right? But I'm pumping my brakes with the Spencer Rattler hype. I mean, I saw today, I think you even commented on there's a picture of him. He looks great, right? He looks like he has the perfect prototype of what you want a quarterback to look like. And fans are like, quarterback is the future. We want him to start week one. And I'm like, guys, let's actually see him on the field first. I know that he had a lot of hype coming into college. He didn't necessarily live up to that hype. So that's a reason why he became a 5th round pick. But let's see him play it out. And like I say, the worst case, he'll probably be a good backup for us for the future years. Best case, if he turns out to be like this quarterback of the future that we all have been looking for since Drew Brees, then great. But I'm not going to crown him yet. And I personally, just because of how I am as a Saints fan, nothing against Spencer Rattler, I don't know if I see him as the next quarterback of the future. However, I'll tell you this, Marley, the worst hot take of all time that I've ever had that you could put on my grave is when we signed Drew Brees in 2006. I was like, why in the hell are we signing this guy when we can draft Matt Leinart or Vince Young or Jay Cutler or just re-sign Aaron Brooks for cheaper? So my quarterback prediction isn't always the best. So that might be a good thing for all you Spencer Rattler fans.
So what is it about Spencer Rattler that make you not so high on him compared to other fans?
Just watching his game tape. Now, look, again, now maybe I'm sounding too negative. Like, I think he has obviously a lot of potential. I think right now it's a combination, though, as far as his hype from the Who Dat Nation of one, everybody's just ready to get rid of Derek Carr. So, I mean, we could have drafted me at quarterback and the fans would have been hyped up about it. But also, in general, I mean, Marley, I've seen Saints fans hype up Ian Book. I've seen Saints fans hype up Jake Haener last year. Remember, even the media was calling him the MVP of training camp 2 weeks into training camp last year. I've seen fans hype up Garrett Grayson. So I'm a little jolted in that regard. And that was even my actual first thought when we drafted Spencer. I said, oh, it seems like we're still doing this tired approach of drafting a quarterback in late rounds and hoping that they are home runs. And some of the fans kind of got on me saying, well, yeah, you're supposed to because it's a quarterback, which I get. Like, yeah, okay, we have 3 fifth-round picks. Use one on a quarterback. Okay, if he isn't that great, then it ain't like you lost much value as a 5th-round pick. But watching his tape, I think that he sometimes goes into his first read too much and locks into it and doesn't look the scan of field. This is why I guess maybe I'm spoiled from Drew Brees. His pocket presence needs work. Honestly, his pocket presence sometimes reminds me of Derek Carr, like when Danes aren't perfect or wide where he can step in, it collapses real quick on him. And that's the same thing that us fans are getting mad at Derek Carr about. So granted, I will say this, his physical attributes are off the charts. He makes some throws that leave your mouth open like, whoa. And that's kind of similar to, if we want to go, best case scenario, I remember looking at some of Josh Allen's highlights when he was coming out the draft, and people were like, yeah, he doesn't have everything in the pocket presence solidified right now, but his arm talent and his tools are just undeniable that if he picks it together and you find a franchise that can actually mold him, like Buffalo did with Josh Allen, then you got yourself a superstar. Well, maybe Clint Kubiak is that guy in New Orleans, and maybe thinking like you as a best case scenario, we actually mold Spencer Rattler, and he can become that guy. But I just think fans are quick to, especially because so many fans are mad at Derek Carr right now, like going straight to the best case scenario instead of being patient and knowing that it might take Spencer Rattler about 2 years to actually become the guy that we hope for him to become.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Like, I'm not one of the people who just want Derek Carr just to get injured week 1 and then Spencer Rattler just start out the gate. I don't want that to happen. I don't even want Derek Carr to just play bad that he started the gate. I want everything to just go, as smooth as possible for Dennis Allen. Let him fall flat on his face and he get fired. I don't want no more excuses of Derek Carr being injured, so that could be his main excuse. Like, I don't want none of that. I want everything to be perfect for all these dudes and everything to point back at Dennis Allen if we fail, which I think we're going to go anywhere between 7 and 9 wins. But I want Spence Rattler to have a good 2 years behind Derek Carr. Mm-hmm. Sit back and learn. Don't just get thrusted into the fire. I want this young man to just ride the bench and get all the knowledge that he can. He don't need to just get thrusted right into the fire. And the only reason he went as a 5th round is because the mature level with the Netflix special. I think, like you say, he has the attributes as far as the physical skills, but when it comes to, like you say, when the pocket collapsing and all that, he had one of the worst offensive line in college. I think we have to give some,
True.
blame on the offensive line.
What if he has a bad offensive line when he is throttled as a starter to the Saints?
Well, that's the thing. He had a bad offensive line, but he was still making plays when the pocket was collapsing. Like, yeah, he probably did make some bonehead decisions, but that clock just speed up in your head. But he was escaping and eluding a lot of those pass rushers. Derek Carr can't do that. But if he sit back for 2 years and, if you build this team up for him, you need to get better in the trenches. We just got to get better at getting offensive line talent, which we haven't been doing so well as of late. But, if we get that offensive line right, we get that defensive line right, that should be well enough to help him when he get thrust into the starting, role. Yeah. If he has that, now if we didn't get the quarterback that we think, like Nick Underhill say, swing again, just keep swinging until you hit. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Just keep on trying until you hit. At the end of the day, you're not going to really go nowhere unless you have a quarterback that's at least capable of manning the ship. So, I don't mind,
All
But
right, so from that, I take away three things. One, you talk about the offensive line. I'm hoping with Fuaga, we should at least have three stalwarts in Fuaga. I mean, that's I'm thinking best case scenario because Fuaga, if you want to look at it from a negative side, can be just as much of a disappointment as Penning has been. But if Fuaga is good, we know McCoy is a Pro Bowl center. Ruiz can be hit or miss, but all intents and purposes, Ruiz is a solid starter. So that's three stalwarts, I would say, right there. And then you just have to question mark, especially with Penning. And I keep telling people, man, if Penning can just shut all of us up and take a leap this year, then suddenly our O-line goes from shaky to, at worst, good. Like just Penning taking that leap. So I'm hoping. I'm not ready to give up on that kid yet, even though he's shown literally damn near no flashes besides getting into fights at training camps. But if Penning can just be solid for us, that will suddenly make this offensive line look a lot differently. Second point, you mentioned about you wanting Spencer Rattler to grow into the position. Patrick Mahomes took a year to learn behind. So would you be willing to sit through another 2 years of Derek Carr? Is that what you're saying?
I don't mind sitting through another 2 years of Derek Carr.
Okay.
I want Dennis Allen up out of here. I want Dennis. Look, if we go one more year of Derek Carr, and let's just say Dennis Allen get fired, that next head coach, he might not be a Derek Carr guy. And who's to say Derek Carr and Spence Rattler might be competing for that quarterback one position?
Yeah.
We might really suck, and then we might be in a Shadir Sanders sweepstakes so long as
and that's what that's another thing. Say we do fire Dennis Allen like everybody thinks we're going to fire Dennis Allen. There's no reason that the new head coach has to come in and be married to Rattler, to be married to Carr, because he's going to probably come in and say, now maybe he does like Rattler or Carr and says, I'm good with this, but he could come in and say, no, I want my own guy. Which leads me to my third point, and that is I feel like this is in my heart, so maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know, but I feel like this is all just making us playing. We're playing the long game because the last quarterback that we actually drafted in the first round was Archie Manning, which was 4 decades ago. I just got a feeling, bro. I don't know why. I just got a feeling that the next quarterback that we will draft in the first round in about 4 years or 3 years, it's going to be Arch Manning. It's going to be one of the biggest full circle moments in Saints history. And Arch Manning is going to be like the biggest selling Saints jersey of all time. The only jersey that can sell more within the Who Dat Nation besides Arch Manning would be if Drew Brees' kid came into the draft and he became drafted by the Saints as the next quarterback. A Brees Jr. jersey would be the biggest selling Saints jersey of all time. But besides that, it would be like crazy. And I'm not like, an Arch Manning stand, but I just feel that in my heart that's what's going to happen. Like that's how it's going to play out, that eventually in 4 years we're still going to be looking for this quarterback and it's going to wind up being Arch Manning, and it's going to be a pretty cool full circle moment that's going to get the fans hyped up. But I'm cheering for Spencer Rattler. Hell, Ma, I know that Derek Carr isn't the greatest, and I'm not trying to sound like a Derek Carr apologist. To me, he is what he is. I feel like what we saw last year is where he's been his whole career. So I'm a little surprised that fans are shocked that he's not great, because he never was great, in my opinion. I feel like there was a lot of misconstrued hype when we signed him when he really didn't deserve it. A lot of people have blame, I guess, to go for that. But I'm cheering for Derek Carr still. I'm cheering for anybody who wears black. I'm cheering for Dennis Allen, Ma. And I think you, low-key, are too. I mean, I get your vision. You want the best for the long term. So you're like, you feel strongly, and you have every right to, because the evidence is what it is. The data is what it is, that Dennis Allen is not going to be a guy who ever brings us a Super Bowl. So I absolutely get what you're saying. I agree with that, actually. I don't think Dennis Allen is ever going to bring us a Super Bowl. But for as long as this guy is wearing black and gold, and as long as Mickey Loomis wants to employ him, I'll cheer for them, and I'll say, prove me wrong. I will make my apology as loud as my disrespect if Dennis Allen ever winds up finally turning the corner and is a great head coach. But he has given you and me and a lot of his fan base absolutely no reason to ever have even the most optimist of views that is a likely scenario.
I can't, bro. I can't cheer for this dude. It's like this with me. It's a win-win situation. If Dennis Allen and Derek Carr proves me wrong and take us to the playoffs and take us on this long magical run, people really think I'm just gonna cry, because I know they've been bookmarking my tweets. I know they're ready to come at me and be like, "Oh, you was the biggest Dennis Allen hater. I remember," and they go just pulling up all the receipts. They think I'm gonna cry if Dennis Allen and Derek Carr take us to the Super Bowl. Like, we gonna win the Super Bowl, the confetti gonna drop, and I'm gonna be crying saying, "Oh, I was wrong." No, I just think we're not going to do that, and it's in our best interest to move on from this dude. The longer he keep us down, well, the longest he's in this position he's in, they're going to be the longest he keep us down. But in other news, man, let's kind of like keep it to the draft, but we could like segue into something else. We got Kool-Aid, man, and Kool-Aid, like you say, man, he's probably going to replace Alante. He's probably going to replace Sean, maybe even Adebo. Who knows? But you know, some news had came on Saints Twitter, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it. But the BR Gridiron Instagram had made a post about players that can be traded very soon, and Marshawn Lattimore actually liked that post. And this was like during around the same time where I think Lonnie Johnson was kind of recruiting Marshawn Lattimore, saying, "I know you can't like this, but man, come on over and mess with this head coach and this quarterback, man. It's lovely over here."
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, Marshawn Lattimore liking that post, all the speculation of him being traded, the friction between him and Dennis Allen, after a long list of players who had friction with Dennis Allen, which is why I can't cheer for him. What's your take on that?
I didn't even know Marshawn Lattimore was back on social media. But that he's even on social media and like
that's on Instagram, not on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I think he had got off of social. I think he got off every social media platform for a while. So I didn't even know he was back on. I actually saw that news circulating. I thought it was when I initially saw it, I thought it was just news because it was Lonnie Johnson essentially hyping up Lattimore to come to the Texans. I didn't see that Lattimore actually liked it. So that's significant because we've all heard scuttlebutt that Lattimore and Dennis Allen do not get along and that Lattimore does not want to play for this man, which is unfortunate because I think Lattimore is a top 3 cornerback when he's on the field. I get the front office's viewpoint of, okay, well, he hasn't finished the last 2 seasons, so how reliable is he, especially when you're paying him a lot of money? But he is, in my opinion, honestly, I think he's the best player on the team when healthy. So to me, you can't sell me on we still are in this win now window and we're trying to compete, but then say, oh, well, we're going to trade Lattimore because he's a cap casualty and yada, yada, yada. And I hate because, again, I'm with you, homie. I'm not a believer of Dennis Allen. I don't think that he's loaned for the city of New Orleans unless Mickey Loomis is just in bed with the fact that he's going to keep him for a decade because he wants to prove everybody that he's a multi-visionary guy who can see what we can't see. So I hate that we are choosing Dennis Allen, a guy who I don't think is going to be long for the city, over like all pro players. And it's going to suck if Lattimore leaves. But it seems like at this point, sadly for us fans especially, Lattimore has made up his mind. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to trade him, and I'm sure we're not going to trade him if we don't get a good package in return. But it seems like the growing momentum is that at some point we probably are going to trade him, especially because we're drafting Kool-Aid. We have talent. Like, I'll give Dennis Allen one day. That man can coach the defense, and that man can coach the secondary. So even when Lattimore is out the games, our secondary is still pretty good. And in that top round, even without Lattimore, I just think we're the best when Lattimore is playing. Like, we're number 1 of 1. Without Lattimore, we're still top 10, which is not 1 of 1. I really would like to know, and maybe one day we'll find out somebody's going to do a deep dive into Dennis Allen's whole tenure. Like, what was the breaking point between Marshawn?
I'm waiting on that 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Robin Dennis Allen. I'm waiting on that.
Maybe some of them already do know. Like,
10 years from now, y'all going to be looking at Surviving Drake, Surviving BBL Drizzy. I'm going to be looking at Surviving Dennis Allen. That's what I want to produce it. I want to produce that show. Matter of fact, they need to call me in and help produce that.
It's because, again, Lattimore is a great player, and I think he's our best player when healthy. Now, I will say, to be, again, to look at it from a Saints front office point of view, and maybe even Dennis Allen's point of view, the past 2 seasons, he has not finished the season. So I can get the frustration on that. And you can't make the club from the top. That's what they say, right? Like, you got to be on the field. Same thing going on with the Pelicans and Zion. It's like, even though Zion just had his best year in the Pelicans uniform as far as availability, he still was not available when we needed him the most. You got to look at it from that standpoint and say, okay, how reliable is this guy that we can build around him? Do we want to continue to put money and resources into this guy if we don't know that we can confidently say that he's going to be available when we need him the most? So I get it from that standpoint. But Lattimore is, again, for me, our best player. And if you're asking me to pick between Lattimore and DA, I'm picking Lattimore 10 out of 10 times. But it seems like this front office is already married to the idea of, well, Lattimore has no longer bought into this culture that Dennis Allen has really, and me and you are paying ruined since Sean Payne and Drew Brees has left. So we can show him the door if he wants to be this way, if we get a good draft package. So I think it's inevitable. Do I think it's going to happen this season? No, I think the more we get deeper into it, I feel less and less likely, because I just don't think any team is going to throw a lot of a worthy package the Saints way. Let's put it that way. I think teams are going to call, and I think the Saints are going to listen. I just don't think there's going to be anything that Mickey Loomis, unless a team gets real desperate and says, oh, Lattimore is the final piece of us winning the Super Bowl. But I do think that Lattimore, I don't see him being a Saint in, let's say, 2026. I really don't. We might end up, it's probably going to be how this is all going to end up, Maul. Lattimore and DA is going to be gone in 2 years. And it's going to be like, well, the real loser was the Saints fans. We got nothing out of it.
Hey, man, sometimes you're going to have a casualty award. And if Lattimore, that sacrificial lamb for us to get rid of DA, I'm all with it. Anybody on that roster could go, as long as it's going to be the detriment of DA. Because you get rid of Lattimore, like you say, our best player, we're going to still do good in the secondary. Because if I'm going to give Dennis Allen any credit, I'm going to give him credit that we do good in the secondary. Now, this defensive guru that y'all giving him, I think he's going to look funny in the light. Because if he was this defensive guru, all them trash quarterbacks he played, they should have never had the problem that we had with him. And on top of that, he can't stop mobile quarterbacks, and we still have the problem stopping the run. So I don't know about this defensive guru that y'all giving him. I'm starting to think he's looking funny in the light. But let me ask you this, Jono.
You say that you're cool with the casualty of like losing a Lattimore in the lone battle award to get rid of DA. That doesn't make you even like a little, I don't know, like sad though. That like
I'm gonna be sad, but I'm gonna be so happy and joyful that at least Dennis Allen is gone. It's almost like a second line after a funeral.
I feel that. That's
good. I'm playing a long game. I'm seeing that last game in that we played against Atlanta. I was strongly hoping that we lost that game because everything would have changed. We would have, man. Look here.
You still won. He ruined it by apologizing right after. You still won. I still remember that.
That was a lot of ramifications.
We scored the garbage touchdown, and everybody's all hyped up on Twitter. And I guess I was like the only one actually like really watching, because I remember when DA and Arthur Smith went to midfield and like Arthur's like cursing him out, and DA's just kind of like shaking his head. And I'm like reading DA's this, and I'm like, it seems like DA's kind of like accepting the getting his ass clowned on by Arthur Smith and apologizing. So all the fans was on social media, like especially like there's some DA truthers out there like doing victory laps and all that, thinking that DA was the one who scored a touchdown. And I'm like, y'all, are we watching what I'm watching? We shouldn't be cheering right now because I don't think DA is 100% on board with what just happened. And then DA dug his own grave by having the gall to say, I apologize to the Atlanta Falcons, which then woke the fans up and say, oh shit, screw that then. So even when he had the golden opportunity to win back the favor of the Who Dat Nation, he always finds a way to fumble it. That's just been his whole MO as a head coach. He gets the greatest opportunities in the world. The past 2 seasons, he's had the worst division in history of the NFL. He can't even win that division. He's had last year one of the easiest schedules in NFL history. Couldn't win that one. The football guys give him another gift. They say we'll let you whoop the Falcons' ass because Saints fans, no matter what, we love whooping the Falcons' ass. And you can get like a FU touchdown on them, and he still found the way to fumble that. I get why you are so on board with getting rid of him. It makes me a little sad that we have to have casualties like a Lattimore, like some popular players. And I'm not a guy who's even married to the idea of, player got to be with the Saints forever. Like, I get the business side of it. But, like, it maybe even pisses me off that, like, dang, we're going to, like, because we fumbled this whole era so bad when Loomis is so damn set on DA being the guy that because of that, now we got to lose players like Lattimore and see Gardner Johnson, which we probably would have lost him anyway because of his money demands. But still, like, we're losing good players because we were married to a guy that Loomis thinks is the next Chuck Noll when he clearly isn't. So it's what makes me mad in the whole thing. But I get why you are like at the point now where you're like, whatever. If we got to lose Lattimore and whoever because it's going to set up for a brighter future, then sign you up. I get it.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you this, Jono. And keep it real with me. Just keep it real with me. Do you think my hatred for Dennis Allen supersedes my fandom of the team? And one more question right after that. we talking about Lattimore as disgruntled. I've been hearing, a lot of rumors that Alante Taylor been disgruntled too. Or the team ain't just been too high on Alante Taylor. This is per Saints Block Party podcast. Shouts out to them boys, Adam and
Ryan,
Adam
baby.
Adam and Ryan, man. They be doing a good job over there. They told me about it. Brian off of Saints Twitter, he told me about it. Like, what's your take on that as well?
So you look at you and them dropping some bombshells. I always say this shit more than the game. Shout out to Jerry. This shit more than the game comes in many forms. It doesn't just have to be always a rally cry, roo rah rah speech. It can be some real shit, and sometimes it can be a negative thing. And I mean negative, like fans can be negative and showcase why this shit more than the game. It's because we demand more. You can demand more as a fan. There's no tried and true definition of how to be a fan. You can be a quote unquote negative fan. I don't even know if I would want to call it negative. Like I said earlier, the data's the data, Maul. You're not going on. It's not like you're complaining about 13-3, 12-4 seasons like some fans were doing during the last round of the Sean Payne Drew Brees era. Now that was when I would probably push back on and say, y'all, shut the hell up. Like, we're making the playoffs every year. We're competing for a championship. Slow your roll. But when you're not making the playoffs the past 3 years, you have a right to be, if you want to use the word negative, you can use that. You're being real. Like, you want more. You are giving this franchise your money. You're giving them your energy. You're giving them your time. So why can't you speak your mind and say what you feel about the team, what you think is the best long-term viewpoint for the team? I always say we're all trying to get to the same destination. Now, we all might have different routes that we're taking to get to that destination, but we're all trying to get to that same destination. So I'm not going to get mad at any fan who wants to be always sunshine and rainbows and look at it from a happy standpoint, a positive standpoint. I'm not going to be mad at someone like you who is just completely, you say you've seen enough. You've seen enough of what Dennis Allen and Derek Carr is, and you want to try a new way. That's absolutely your right. I hate when fans come at you or any of the fans that way saying that, you're not being a real fan, saying, well, we don't know if Dennis Allen's replacement is going to be even better. Who cares? Like, you've seen enough data. That's the with the quarterback. Keep swinging. You keep swinging. So, I hate that. Again, I don't mind that, though, if fans are like, believe that. I disagree with those fans that say, we got to keep, spinning this wheel with the Dennis Allen, the wheel of mediocrity is what I call it, what we're living in right now. If that's how fans feel like it's the right way to go about it, God bless them. There's no right way to fan, but don't come at the fans who also just don't agree with that way and want to do it a different way. So there's multiple ways to dish shit more than the game are, and you dish shit more than the gaming your way. And I tell you to keep on doing it, my brother. You ain't doing nothing wrong.
Yeah. So with the Alante Taylor, man, what you think about that? Like, can we possibly lose Sean and Alante?
I don't think that this franchise is going to be crazy enough, especially while we still got Alante on a cheap contract, to get rid of both of them. Not, maybe they might not want to re-sign him or anything, but I would say this, like, if this will be if Alante really is at odds with DA, that this is now the secondary player who does not like DA. So at what point
I don't know if he's at odds with DA. I'm thinking the Saints as a whole, like I've been hearing that he's just running his mouth. They're just not high on him for whatever reason. I think the Kool-Aid pick was probably, kind of, it was kind of like telling. I don't know if it was telling.
It was telling. It was
off of Alante, but Kool-Aid, he could play a multifaceted positions. He could play safety. He could play slot. I was just listening to Nick Underhill, and he was saying he was looking at this tape, and he was like, Nick barely found the flaw in his game.
Yeah. Nick said he was boring, which is a good thing for a cornerback. If you have a boring cornerback, that means that they're doing what they got to do. Like you said, shout out to the Saints Block Party. I didn't know about the scuttlebutt with Alante Taylor. So that's when we drafted, you don't draft a cornerback that high when you already have an embarrassment of riches at cornerback if you're not bracing yourself for one of those guys who is currently on the team to leave. So I do think there's going to be someone who's going to be out there. Would it be Alante? Would it be Lattimore? Would it be both of them? Would it be Adebo? Would it be the surprise pick? Who knows? But I do think that, we're not going to have one of those three guys in 2025. Now, maybe because of the packages we're getting back and whatnot, this singular year of 2024, we keep all four of them, and we have, in my opinion, the best secondary in the league. Now, of course, that means somebody isn't going to get that much playing time, which if it's one of the three who have already established themselves in the league, then they're probably going to make some noise about it. Kool-Aid wouldn't really have a hill to stand on if he ain't getting playing time because he's a rookie. But like if Alante winds up getting benched for Kool-Aid, I'm sure Alante is going to be a lot more vocal about it. And I'm sure Alante probably wasn't thrilled when Kool-Aid was drafted. So it'll be interesting to see. I will say because the guy's name is motherfucking Kool-Aid, I'm going to be a stan of his no matter what. Like if you are going to have to make me accept that Lattimore is going away, do it with a guy named Kool-Aid. So I'm all on board with it.
It's funny. Our first three picks have the names of the merchandise could just go hand in hand with all their names. Like we got the guy that could be on some bloodline stuff. We got the rattlesnake with Spence Rattler, and we got Kool-Aid. So that could be like a Kool-Aid daiquiri, or just some Kool-Aid that you can sell in the dome or at the local bars and restaurants. Like we got some flavor. We got some flavor.
If the NFL is real, they would put Kool-Aid on the back of his jersey if they want to make some goddamn money. Put Kool-Aid, NFL. Put Kool-Aid on the damn jersey, and you'll have my money all right away.
So, what's your expectations of the Saints before I transition to the Pelicans? I know you can't be here too much longer. What's your expectation for the team this coming up season? We got Clint Kubiak. Hopefully, he could revamp the offense. We, ain't have a new offensive coordinator or offensive just offense period in like the last 18 years. So it's going to be excitement. It's going to be new. It's going to be fresh. We got Kendre Miller. We got Alvin Kamara. They should be back there in a highly focused running back offense. It's a lot to look forward to, man. What's your expectations?
I still don't think that we've done anything to take a leap. So we were at 9 wins last year. Like you said, I feel like we're still in that 7, 8, 9 win circle, which kind of sucks, to be honest, Mark, because in that circle, you don't make the playoffs and you don't get a high draft pick. I would rather be, I don't mind being in that circle of mediocrity for 1 year, like, because you still got that optimism. Like, oh, well, maybe things go our way, we make the playoffs. Like in 2021, we was in that circle of mediocrity, and you still had that hope that maybe we might make the playoffs. Of course, it didn't work out that way. But when you're doing it for now, will apparently be the third straight year, it gets old. And I'm like, at this point, like you, Mo, I'm like, I'd rather we ought to just flame out. Like, if we're not going to be a top dog in the NFC, let's just flame out, get a high pick, get some excitement back with this goddamn fan base. I don't think we've done anything, which I'm fine with. Like I said, it's been a fine offseason to me to make us take a leap from 9 wins to double-digit wins, unless Kubiak is a genius, which sign me up if he is, because that would be great for us, right? It's a good problem to have. Because then, of course, fans are going to be like, we need to make Kubiak the head coach if Kubiak turns this offense around. It's a good problem to have if you're a franchise.
No, I don't think we see what happened with Dennis Allen. He got to be able to lead men.
True.
Thorough head coach search.
So, I think if you ask me today, it's May 8th, 2024, I would say 8 wins. I think we actually take a step back.
I got 8 wins.
I hope I'm wrong. It seems like the Falcons this year's sexy pick for the NFC with the Kirk Cousins signing in. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, the NFC South still doesn't seem like this crazy hard division that the Falcons getting someone like Cousins, even if you're low on Cousins, he's good enough, in my opinion, to win 10 games in the NFC South and can get the Falcons that playoff spot that they're looking for. The Bucs can still be a contender. I mean, it feels like every year since Brady's been gone, we kind of write off the Bucs, and they just continue to win 9, 10 games, and they keep the same talent. So I don't see any reason why they would take a step back. I just don't see a reason why anything we've done in the offseason will point to us taking a step forward, unless, again, Kubiak is that guy. And if he is, great. Like, I'm still cheering for the team, Mo. I'm still hoping that we have success. I am hoping that Dennis Allen can make his apology as loud as my disrespect has been for him. But just looking at the roster and seeing the data of Dennis Allen as a head coach, and I like Kubiak, but I'm not going to act like this guy was like this wanted treasure. Like he maybe winds up being a treasure, but I'm not going to just say he is because he's wearing black and gold laundry now. I'll cheer for him, but until I see it, I'm not going to predict that he is going to be a treasure. So I got us at 8 wins, and that would actually kind of suck. Because then again, we'll be in that mediocre circle where we'll be in the middle of the pack for a draft selection again, not making the playoffs, not having a high prospect draft pick to get excited about. And it'll make the rants from me and you and a lot of fans this year just as strong as it was last year.
I do think it's going to be a more fun season. Like last year, we won 9 games, but it was a dreadful 9 games because of the competition. But if we win 8 games, when we do win, it's going to be more fun, I believe. And I think we
Explain. No, elaborate. Because how do we have more fun going back? Especially the only way I would give you this is
we play harder teams.
If Rattler gets to play, because I know fans have a hard on for him. So if Rattler gets to play, then yeah, it's going to be fun because fans are going to, this is our guy for the future. The fans have already determined. So that'll be fun. But if we are going to 8 wins with Derek Carr, I don't think it's going to be fun at all. I think fans are going to be just as jolted and pissed off as they were last year. I think you will be having fun because you would think that finally Loomis is going to have to fire DA. But I think
them 9 wins was miserable to me. To me, when we was beating them team, we beat them team by the hair of our ass. We shouldn't have no business beating them team the way fashion matters to me. I don't care what nobody say. Remember when the Vikings went on that little run? Everybody knew their ass was gonna get busted in the playoffs because they was beating people by the hair of their ass. Fashion matters. But I know you ain't got too much long. Let me go ahead on and just get you up out of here with this Pelicans question, man. Who's gonna be out, man? BI or Zion? Who you want to be out and who you think is gonna be out?
Both answers to that is BI. Nothing against BI. He's done great things for this city. I just think that, again, sometimes the data is the data. Like, you just can't keep running it back when you're not doing anything of significance, right? And we are in now year 6 going into the Zion BI era, and we only have 2 playoff wins to show for it. Zion still has 0 playoff games. We have not seen anything to make you think that Zion and BI can be a combination that can get you to the finals, much less the second round. We haven't even made the second round yet. Sometimes fans push back on, it's not really year 6 because, Zion. Nah, it's year 6. It's year 6. All right? Like, let's start with the BS. It's year 6. And truthfully, I will say this. This is like the pink elephant in the room. It seems like, fans are now focusing so much on BI this year because now he's the easy scapegoat that we're ignoring that yet again, Zion was not available for the playoffs, which to me, I was fine with this whole past season, Maul. Like, I called this the weirdest season in my fandom as a Pelicans Hornets fan because we had 49 wins. Like, objectively, that's a damn good season. If you would have told me in October the Pelicans are going to have 49 wins, I would have said, sign me up. That's good. Who would have thought that it would have been only good enough for a play-in spot that we had to fight by the hair of our teeth, about hair of our tails to get to the playoffs still, and then it led to us getting swept. But it was objectively in a vacuum a fine season, but what really made it suck yet again is that Zion again got hurt and now is going into his 6th year now with 0 playoff minutes. That was my whole goal this whole season, Mo. I was like, whatever happens, I just want to see Zion in a playoff environment so he can feel what it's like, so he can kind of like learn how teams are going to come at him in the playoffs and he can know what he has to work on. We're going into year 6 and this man has still not made it on the court for a playoff game. And what worries me is, again, he had a great year of availability this past season, but that game against the Lakers, that play-in game, that was essentially a postseason game. That was a playoff-like game. His body gave out on him in his first quote-unquote postseason game that he played in. Like, so how am I, as a fan and damn sure as a front office executive, supposed to think that Zion's body can withstand 4 playoff series in his career, right? Because he's the guy. Like, he's the guy that we are building our franchise around. I don't mind that. His peak is so damn good, and it ain't like New Orleans is a goddamn top destination for top free agents that you got to build around Zion. I'm okay with that. I will continue to be patient and wait for Zion, but he has shown me nothing to make me believe that he can survive 1 playoff series, much less to get to 4, which is you need to get to if you want to make it to the NBA Finals. So that's something that I think fans are casually ignoring because right now we're just focused on BI. But that's a huge problem that we gotta, make a contingency plan at least for to be prepared for. Even if we get rid of BI, can we trust Zion to survive a playoff series or 2 or 3 or 4 if we get that far? I like BI. I just don't think him and Zion have proven to be a good fit. So I'm A-okay with changing things up a bit and maybe trying to get some assets in return for him. I don't envy David Griffin and Trajan because that's a hard thing to do. I'm just a fan, thank God, so I ain't got to make.
Are you on a trade bandwagon or one of those guards from Cleveland?
I was on a trade bandwagon last year. Like I was on a Scoot Henderson bandwagon when there was rumors that we might trade BI for Scoot, and I was like, sure, why not? Like I had seen enough at that point. Like again, I like BI. I love BI, but I'm just like you with the DA thing. Like I've seen enough data what this team is that okay, if we want to be in this circle of first round playoff exit and we enjoy that type of fanaticism, God bless y'all. I think that we should strive for a little bit more, and we're not going to get to that more with just relying every year on running it back with Zion and beyond. This is the year. This is the year that they both are going to be healthy. I think that Phoenix series 2 years ago kind of had fans. It was one of the best things that happened to this franchise, Maul, but also one of the worst things because it made all of these fans like so locked in on this is the team that we have to have for the next decade or so, and it's like it's been proven basically now that series against Phoenix, that's kind of the peak of what this current iteration of the team can go through. And that was only 2 playoff wins. Like it wasn't like we won the series. We only won 2 games in that series. It was fun. But that was 2 years ago. We can't just keep trying to capture that moment again. Like, and it wasn't even that great of a moment. Again, it was 2 wins. It was great for what it was in that season. But come on, man, it's year 6 of Zion. And I mean, Oklahoma City has lapped us. Minnesota has lapped us. I get it. It happens in sports. Like teams are going to make some moves, and it's not always going to work in your team's favor. But like I'm watching Oklahoma City, and I'm getting jealous. I'm watching Minnesota, and I'm getting jealous. I'm watching Anthony Edwards, and I'm like, that's what Zion would be right now. Like just taking over this league, saying this is my goddamn league right now. I'm tired of this running back stuff. I'm tired of the excuses for the BI stands and all is why he's not showing up. Nah, like come on now. So I don't say this like happily. But I do think changes need to be made. And I think it starts with you're not going to trade Zion. You're just not. So you got to go with BI. And like you said with the quarterback picks, Ma, you keep swinging until you hit a home run. We haven't even hit a single yet with this. We made the playoffs, so maybe we haven't hit a double yet with this franchise. So keep swinging out till you hit a double because I'm tired of hitting singles. I want to hit at least a double. I want to feel what the second round feels like. I'm not happy with 2 wins in a 2 wins was our peak because goddamn, we didn't win a game this goddamn playoff series, man.
Not a game. I always say it, man.
It's crazy. Like, again, objectively, it was a good season. Like I was chill. Like I'm not one of these negative fans on the Pelicans. Like I give them props to what they accomplished this year. The failure to me is that again, Zion got hurt again right when we needed him, right? But Memphis is coming back next year with Ja Morant. Houston showed a lot of flashes this year. Wemby, when the Spurs get talent around him, watch out, right? So we can't be like, we won 49 games, we're fine, we're running back. No, like these other teams who are behind us are potentially going to leapfrog us along with, and then Anthony Edwards is going to get worse. It ain't like SGA with Oklahoma City is going to get worse. Like, so you got to make these tough decisions, Griffin and Trajan. Like, what are you going to do to make this team take the leap to be in that top contention? Because it ain't like the teams behind you are just going to sit by idly and say, we'll let the Pelicans keep a lock on the 7 or 8 spot. Nope, don't work like that. Something's got to change.
One more question before I let you get up out of here, Jono. I got to ask you. Man, you hit a milestone on your podcast, man. You had a Pro Bowl current Saints player on your podcast, Eric McCoy, man. How that feeling was? I know it was surreal, man. Before I let you go, I just got to ask you, man, how that feeling was, man.
God is good. The fans are good. I couldn't do it without building this platform. It's crazy, man. I keep saying this, and I don't want to overstated enough, but I feel like it was historical. Like I've seen players go on fans podcasts and streams, but I've never seen, I could count on one hand at least. And shout out to my dude Devin because he had Larry Nance put up to his crib, right? But I feel like we're in a small circle where we actually got these players coming to our crib. Like I got Eric McCoy, a Saints Pro Bowl player, coming to New Orleans East to come kick it with me. Like that's some monumental historical shit that I'm not a guy with a big ego. I don't like to poke my chest out too much, but I think that's going to be like, maybe I might be blowing smoke up my ass too much, but like that doesn't happen often, homie. Like that doesn't happen often. And it might become the norm in 5 years. Like, well, these players of all regions are going to like a fan's house to kick it with them. But I'm going to keep saying it till my dying day, whether this is the peak of my brand or not. It started in New Orleans, and that is why this shit is more than a game, man. I was humbled when it happened. I'm just so damn appreciative because, again, I couldn't do it without the support of people like you, homie, for you using your platform to build me up. For a lot of other people, I don't want to mention names because then I'm going to forget somebody. I'm going to feel bad. But, like, I started doing this content creation shit in 2021, and for me to be in my 3rd year and having I got NBA former players coming on the stream virtually. I got Saints players coming to the crib. I'm hoping to get more. more. So cross your fingers. I'm hoping to get more. Like I'm really trying to like do some historical shit here that we as a fan base, as a Saints fan base, can say, look what we did. Like, you know, that inspired the New Yorkers and Atlanta people and the California people to try to replicate it with their teams and whatnot. So I'm just humble, man. Eric McCoy, cool ass dude, bro. He will always be. Now I'm gonna always be the biggest fan of his. I hope he finishes his career. That's a guy that I'm gonna get emotional about now more. Like if we ever have to like trade him or get rid of him for cap reasons or whatever, I'm like, nah, he needs to be a Saint for life. But he is officially on this shit more than the game Mount Rushmore, because I still don't think he grasps how big that was that he did for me. So it was awesome. I'm hoping that people got the chance to enjoy the interview, and we're hoping to do it in the future, not just with Saints players and Pelicans players, but with like some, you know, noteworthy New Orleans people, musicians, artists, things like that. And then, you know, who knows, maybe it just grows and grows where even outside of the New Orleans and Louisiana bubble, we get other people. But it's built in New Orleans, Louisiana, which I take a ton of pride in. And that is why this shit is more than a game.
All right, well, shoot, Jono, I'm gonna let you get up out of here, man.
Wait, hold on, Mark. I got a little time actually, so I want to ask you a question.
Okay, come on.
I kind of give you a heads up, so I feel like you tried to casually ignore, but it's cool. Ma, bro, why are you so emotional that your homie Drake got murdered in this beef with Kendrick Lamar?
I don't think he got murdered. I think Kendrick Lamar had a one catchy song.
Oh, boo.
It's a song I ain't gonna say. Yeah, I won't ever play in my car. But if I'm at a barbecue, if I'm at a function, I'm drinking with my people, I'm drinking with my friends, we having fun, and
certified pedophile. Yeah.
I would dance to that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you know, I honestly feel like Family Matters and Push-Ups better than everything Kendrick had put out. And
you would be wrong.
If Drake would have put out Family Members in sections, it would have been a whole different story. He messed up when he put it all out at once.
Ma, it wasn't that, Ma. I think, and look, I'm being, you know, exaggeration, but I give you this, and I agree. I think Drake more than held his own. Like it wasn't like it was a knockout. Like Drake held his own. My thing is this: I feel like, and I'm finding humor in it, is because like this is usually Drake's playbook. Like Kendrick is taking Drake's playbook and using it against him, which I find hilarious that the Drake fans are not being able to accept, because this is how Drake has won a lot of beefs. And I mean, Meek Mill responded to a back-to-back with multiple songs, but you wouldn't know it because at that point, the fans will say, nah, back-to-back is the song we've chosen our winner. The same thing is happening now with Drake. Fans have said, you know what? Not Like Us is the song. Sorry, Drake. So no matter what he drops, and Drake is dropping heat. I agree with that. Drake is doing the damn thing, but his playbook is now, he created this monster, so I find it funny. Like when I see you,
that second like, verse on that Family Matters,
it was great. It was crazy. The winners more is hip hop fans. That was not only probably a top 5 night in hip hop history, but the past week was one of the greatest weeks in hip hop history. Like it's one of those moments in times, if you ask me. Like all hip hop fans will remember when Drake dropped his song, a great song, like you say, like killed this with the Family Matters. And then 20 minutes later, Kendrick drops. Like we have never seen anything like that. Had the whole internet late at night on a Friday night shook, man. I will never forget where I was with that. It was awesome. And then less than some 18 hours later, he drops the club song, the song of the summer with Not Like Us. Incredible.
If you want some bread, you need to react to that because Kendrick uplifted.
I've been thinking about that. I'm like, damn, I'm missing out on something. You too. We're missing out on some money with that.
They said there's some life-changing money from what I've been reading.
Man. It's been great. I think Drake more than held his own, but I think fans should accept that. I mean, look, the best lose, no, the best lose. It happens.
Eminem could have came out. Eminem could have came out and wouldn't mess with Drake. Eminem, no boy.
I had to accept that at one point when social media turned on my dog Eminem. Now you guys got it. It happens to everybody at the top. Eventually, you at the top long enough, they're going to turn on you. It took Drake 13 years for it to finally happen. That's a fetter in Drake's cap, in my opinion.
It's the Tom Brady Floyd phase. It's the Tom Brady Floyd phase. You know. Yeah. What about your boy? He didn't even do good when he went against
Don't say
that
it.
Stuff with Benzino was trash.
Don't say it. All right, yeah.
And that stuff with MK was trash.
No. My dog has never lost a rap battle, and I can say that with a straight face. That's y'all being revisionist history with that bullshit.
He ain't losing payroll.
He never lost. No. You saying Lotto won? Please don't
he lose to Lotto.
Oh, that's revisionist history. That's you and B too, by the way. I hope B watches it.
I thought Lotto won that.
Lotto won that
when I first seen 8 Mile. When I first seen 8 Mile.
When the last time y'all quoted Lotto from that movie? But everybody be saying Lotto, it's Tank Top saying Lotto, I don't fit you. Come on now, stop it. Stop it. Sometimes the biggest thing about battles is who has the most quotables. Don't do that. Y'all be trying to revise history on my dog, Embry. See, now I'm getting as emotional as you are about Drake.
Hey man, we
that's why you my dog, Ron. That's why you my dog. But we can talk sports, music. I love it. I love it. This shit more than the game, brother.
But shit, man, let me go ahead on and let you get up out of here, Jono. Tell the people where they can find you at. Every platform they can look you up, so the people could come check you out, man. You one of the funny, well, not one of you, the funniest dude on social media to me. I think you need to do more collaborations with Snow, but that's just my opinion.
With Devin.
Yeah,
that's my dog. That's my dog. We kind of doing our own thing, but we've done some things in the past. But then we kind of like let's broach out into our own thing. But I'm sure the stars will align and we'll connect again because he's doing some great things too. I'm always honored when people put me in the same mention as him, and I'm glad that we have two small dudes, him from the parish, me from New Orleans East, like making some significant impact in New Orleans. I mean, I got this shit more than the game magnets right now being sold on Magazine Street, 5208 Magazine Street. If y'all want to go support that local business, parcels and posts for $3, you can get a This Shit More Than the Game magnet. I got my merch on jonobarnes.com, this shit more than the game.com. I get stopped at Jazz Fest. I get stopped doing Mardi Gras when I'm out and about. That's humbling as hell for fans to like just scream this shit more than the game. I ask for a picture, makes you feel like a little bit of a mini celebrity, but it shows, man. They always say in New York, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Well, now I say, if you can make it in New Orleans, you don't need to make it anywhere else because the love of New Orleans is deep, man. And I appreciate all of the support from people like you, Mar, from just the whole New Orleans city, the Saints fan base, Pelicans fan base, the whole Louisiana bubble. So add Jono Barnes on all social media platforms. And again, jonobarnes.com if you want this pretty cool shirt and This Shit More Than a Game. Honestly, you just search This Shit More Than a Game on Google now. All my stuff should come up now because we're taking this brand to a whole nother level. And that is a motto / slogan / lifestyle for the fans and by the fans, because I might be the avatar of This Shit More Than a Game. I might be the one who uttered it first, but that lifestyle is within all of us. Ball, you show it every day on your timeline. That's why I got mad love for you, man. All the people in the chat, all the people who watch our stuff. This shit more than the game, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys.
All right, man. That's what it is, man. Jono, this shit more than the game bonds, man. Thanks for coming on the stream. I'll have you back soon.
Appreciate it.
Always remember, man, like Dennis Allen say, keep doing what you're doing.
This shit more than the game.